Assalamualaikum and welcome to Group 18 online presentation. Good morning to Prof. Azila and our classmates. We are Group 18 or Endeavour. We presenting on SDG13 climate action, but specifically on SDG 13.2 policy planning and strategies on climate action. Therefore, we have chosen Switzerland as the region we will be focused on. Along the presentation, we can see what Switzerland has done under SDG 13. This is our group member. First, we have Nur Ashikin Hamza. Next is Eva Shandi Jusli. Then Muhammad Hakim Muhammad Zaki. And finally, it is me, Fahada Nur Atasha. Now we move on to the presentation outline, what all of the viewers of this presentation can expect from us. Firstly, we will begin the presentation with introduction of Switzerland and its tourism industry. Then we will explain on climate change, SDG 13 and its subtopic SDG 13.2. So, from 30 plus initiatives and events under the government supervision to achieving SDG 13.2 in Switzerland, we have shortlisted 7 most recent actions taken. So, we can see in this slide from number 1 policies to the number 7, Swiss tourism for SDGs. We also will take turns to explain all actions taken. I hope everyone stay focused and looking forward for our presentation. Hello, here is me again. My name is Fahada, matric number 269A63. So the first part of introduction is about Switzerland. Do you all know where Switzerland is? Switzerland, or for short Swiss, is a landlocked country located in Central Europe. It is a federal republic country with capital city based in Bern. Neighboring countries include Austria, France, Italy, Liechtenstein, and Germany. The geography of Switzerland are mostly mountain with a central plateau of rolling hills, plains, and large lakes. So from the satellite image, Swiss consists of 3 major landscapes. On the right side, we can see that there is Alpine or Alps. The word is just covered by the snow. Then in the center, we can see the upper side from St. Gallen, Zurich to Geneva is the central plateau. And the left side, we have Jura, located northwest. According to the latest statistics of 2022, the population of Swiss are approximately about 8.8 million, or to be exact, 8,811,229. And for the currency, they are using Swiss francs, CHF. CHF is the abbreviation stand for the Latin name of the country, Confederatio Helvetica, meanwhile F stands for the France. And lastly, the most spoken language in Switzerland is Swiss German. That's all for the introduction of Switzerland. How can we continue with the tourism in Switzerland? Thank you.
Thank you to my friend Fahada. So I will continue this presentation and I will talk about tourism industry at Switzerland. When we talk about this country of Switzerland, we must imagine about mountains. This is because Switzerland is well known for its beautiful scenery. A trip to Switzerland is sure to make us more appreciate when we look at God creations. This country has an area of 41,285 square kilometers and is normally and mostly made up of mountains, as my friend Fahada just explained just now. One of them is the Alps, which are the most beautiful mountain in the world. You will see snow-covered mountain peaks and a lake with water that is very clear and blue. Even though Switzerland doesn't have a coastline, that doesn't make it less popular as a place to visit. The number of people visiting the country is growing faster than ever. Skyscanner calls Switzerland is a nature lover paradise because the Alps cover more than half of the country. Lake Constance is in the north and the Lake Geneva is in the south. Did you know that according to the World Happiness Report for 2011, Switzerland is the 4th happiest country? Swiss tourism is doing better than ever because it had a mild climate beautiful place to visit, good food, and economy that is getting better. Switzerland's tour take you to places like the Alps and the Rhone, where you can try delicious cheese, chocolate, and other foods. In 2011, there were 4,967 registered hotels and hostels with a total of 128,000 rooms and 240,000 beds. This capacity was filled to 41.7%, which is equal to 38.8 million nights of logging. 40% of the hotels were in Greece, 12% in the Velas and the Eastern Switzerland, and 11 in central of Switzerland, and 9% in the Bernese Oberland. The number of hotel nights per resident was higher in Grisson and Bernese Oberland, while the average of Switzerland was only 1.3. Visitors from other countries stay in 4% of rooms. By country of origin, 16.5% were from Germany, 6.3% from UK, 4.8% from US, and 3.6% from France, and 3.0% from Italy. As of 2010, the total amount of money related to tourism, including transportation, was estimated to be 35.5 billion. Some of this money comes from fuel tax and sale of the motorway. Through the number of the money that tourism adds of the economy is 14.9 billion. Tourism gives the whole country a total of 144,838 full-time jobs. The total amount of money made from tourists staying in hotels is 5.19 billion CHF, and another 5.19 billion CHF come from tourists eating at hotels, and the 14.9 billion CHF in total gross value add is about 2.9% of Switzerland's nominal GDP of 550,000 billion CHF in 2010. Here are three places that are usually visited by tourists and should be seen. First is the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Museum. The mission of this museum is to help as many people as possible in Switzerland and around the world to learn about the history, current events, and the challenges of humanitarian aid. It does this by encouraging contemporary art and developing new content with the public and private sector partner who come from very different places and the way of life. As a result, it creates and improves a unique heritage while boosting the large social, cultural, and economic ecosystem in which it plays as a central role. Second place is Zimmerman, and the third one is the Jet Diao.
Hello, I'm Eva. I will continue to the next introduction, which is the climate change. Okay, climate change is a signification of ongoing changes to the world climate are referred to as climate changes. The sun, earth, ocean, wind, rain, snow, forests, deserts, savannas, and human activities all contribute to the overall climate of the world. The global climate, however, is more extreme than the average of the climate in particular location. Climate change also refers to the long-term shift in temperature and weather patterns. This shift may be natural, such as through variation in the solar cycle. But since it is, human activities have been the main driver of climate changes, primarily due to burning fossil like coal, oil, and gas. As a result, the Earth is now about 1.1 Celsius warmer than it was in the late of 80s. The last decade, from 2011 until 2020, is the warmest on the record. Okay, many people think climate change mainly means warmer temperature, but temperature's rise is only a beginning of the story, because of the Earth is a system where everything is connected. Changes in one area can influence changes in all others. Next, I will give some of the changes of climate in Switzerland. Okay, the first one is global temperature. As we know, global temperature is climate changes to all over the world. Okay, global temperature in Switzerland, where the temperature in Swiss are increasing 2 or 3 times faster than the global average, which is the temperature are higher than before, where the glacier melted because of the temperature was high. Okay, second is the increased risk of flood. Okay, it happened when the temperature increased, so when the winter in northern Switzerland and glacier melted. Since the glacier melted, it can cause a flood. Okay, the third one is water precipitation, which is the changes from the snowfall into a rainfall. It shows that even winter still got higher temperature than before. Okay, that's all for climate change. I will pass to the next person who will present about SDG 13.
Assalamualaikum and hi, I am Nora Shikid binti Hamzah, metric number 269581. What is SDG 13? SDG 13 is about climate action and is one of the 17 SDG established by the UN General Assembly in 2015. The official mission statement of this goal is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. SDG 13 have 5 targets which are to be achieved by 2030. They cover a wide range of issues surrounding climate action. The first 3 targets are output targets. First is a strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity to climate related disasters. Second, integrated climate change measures into policies and planning. Third, build knowledge and a capacity to meet climate change. The 2 remaining targets are a means of achieving targets, which is to implement the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change and to promote mechanisms to raise capacity for planning and management. Along with each target, there are indicators that provide a method to review the overall progress of each target along with SDG 13 as a whole. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC, is the primary international intergovernmental forum for negotiating the global response to climate change. The average worldwide temperature in 2021 was approximately 1.1 degrees Celsius, higher than pre-industrial levels. The years from 2015 to 2021 were the 7 warmest on record. The top 3 being the warmest is 2016, 2019, and 2020. Currently, climate change is affecting the global community in every nation across the world. The impact of climate change is not only impact national economies but also lives and livelihoods, especially those in vulnerable condition. In this presentation, we are only focusing on integrated climate change measure into policy and planning.
And carry out with the help of experts. Its great knowledge base make policy represent the interests of tourism policy both nationally and internationally. Overseas Switzerland Tourism and the Swiss Society for Hotel Credit on behalf of the Swiss government and enforce of the Federal Act on the promoting of innovations and cooperation and knowledge creation in tourism at Switzerland. Switzerland is a popular place for tourists to visit because it has a lot of natural and cultural sites in a small area, as well as a great tourist infrastructure and company that provide high quality service. Switzerland economy depend a lot on tourism, especially in the Confederation Tourism Strategy was passed by the Federal Council on November 10, 2021, and it keep going in the same direction as the previous strategy, which worked well and is the foundation of the Federation policy. And the goal of the Federal Council is to make sure that Switzerland tourism industry stay competitive on the international level and to promote Switzerland as a tourist destination with a lot to offer. The Confederation Tourism Strategy has 5 goals, and the first one is to improve framework conditions. Second is encourage entrepreneurship. Third is contribute to sustainable development. Fourth is embrace digital information, and the last one is to promote Swiss tourist attraction and Switzerland presence on the tourism market.
Next, we move on with Swiss Sustainable 2021. Swiss Sustainable is the project introduced in February 2021 by Switzerland to promote its country tourism growth in advancement of the SDG13. But first, let's watch the video.
How far we've come. Our curiosity has taken us around the planet. We've traveled over land, water, and through the air with fire in our hearts. We used to travel to arrive. Now we travel for its own sake. Here in Switzerland, we've created endless hiking trails, spectacular bridges, and built cable cars that reach the highest peaks. We've always cared deeply for nature. Our love for nature is in our DNA. Sustainable travel comes naturally to us. What others see as a distant goal, for us, comes as standard. It's time to give this standard a name. We call it Swisstainable. Swisstainable stands for excellence. Swisstainable serves as a blueprint because we know that when nature is left untouched, the more it can touch us. And that's something worth preserving for generations to come. It's time for a new way of traveling. Over land and water, through the air, with plenty of fire in our hearts.
Swisstainable comes from combination word Switzerland plus sustainable. Why Swiss being sustainable is important in climate action? Because sustainable development aims to reduce the impact of climate change that affect the environment and society. Swisstainable also will mitigate and increase resilience to the negative impact of climate change. It is also increase the sustainable development progress of the country. Meanwhile, sustainable travel means greater awareness, depth, and enjoyment. Sustainable is about having one finger in the past and maximum relaxation in nature setting. These 4 actions listed here is the recommendation under Sustainable program to the traveller and tourists that visiting Switzerland to support sustainable travel. First, they must enjoy the nature up close and in first hand. Second, they must experience local culture in authentic way. Third is consume regional products. And lastly, number 4 is stay for the longer and delve deeper. Then we continue with what Switzerland offers as sustainable travel destination. First, water. How impressive are their water quality? First, Switzerland invites their guests to swim in its city's river during the summer. It is a truly unique experience, like how can people swim in city's river? But you need to be able to swim because there are no lifeguards. The swimmers are enter the river at their own risk. At the same time, Switzerland also boasts their 1,500 lakes, and Switzerland, also known as Europe's mountain bastion, and is home to the source of many rivers including the Rhine and the Rhone. Number 2, air. Air quality of Switzerland is also excellent. Climatic spa is one of the sustainable tourist attractions available in Swiss because it is beneficial therapeutic effects. The spa located in Davos Mountain, it is 1,560 meters above sea. The climate here is especially good at supporting therapies against allergies and infectious diseases of the respiratory tracts and lungs. It is supported by researcher discovery in 1853.
For planning park first is Fazil Nature. Fazil Nature is a national partnership in which the Swiss park work with local transportation company, environmental group and confederation to encourage tourists to use public transportation to get to the park. To do this, Fazil Nature create a travel deal that are good for the environment and offer attractive discount. Most of the carbon dioxide that come from tourism come from transportation, and the Swiss park deal with his problem and help to reduce carbon dioxide around the world by putting together fun things to do and explaining how easy they are to get to. Also, all the Swiss park communication include information about how to get there by public transportation. In this way, they made people more aware on how important their choice of transportation is. Innovations is also important, and people are coming up with new deals, new ideas to make public transportation more appealing.
Die Naturparke und das UNESCO-Biosphärenreservat im Thüringer Wald. Verbunden durch den Rennsteig. Deutschlands bekanntester Höhenwanderweg ist über 169 Kilometer lang. Schon Johann Wolfgang von Goethe war hier unterwegs. Mischwälder, Bergwiesen, Bäche und Gipfel, historische Städtchen und idyllische Dörfer prägen die Region in der Mitte Deutschlands. Der ICE bringt sie nach Eisenach und Erfurt. Regionalbahnen und Busse fahren sie an ihr Urlaubsziel. An Wochenenden und an Feiertagen fährt der Rennsteig-Shuttle. Kostenlos mobil sind sie mit dem Rennsteig-Ticket. Sie bekommen es automatisch in ihrer Unterkunft. Damit können Sie die Mobilitätsangebote der Rennsteigregion nutzen. Mit Bus und Bahn kommen Sie weiter. Viele Ferienorte sind dabei und mehr als 300 Beherbergungsbetriebe. Flyer informieren über das Angebot ebenso wie die Rennsteig-Ticket-Website und die Internetseiten der Partner. Ob zur Wanderung oder zur Einkehr. ob ins Informationszentrum Biosphärenreservat oder zum Stadt- und Kulturbummel. Wer hier Urlaub macht, kann das Auto zu Hause lassen. Mit dem Rennsteigticket sind Sie bequem und kostenfrei unterwegs. Fahrziel Natur, Naturparke und UNESCO-Biosphärenreservat im Thüringer Wald.
The next initiative to combat climate change in Switzerland is RM Pro Snow program. The program helps Swiss winter sport resort companies to reduce their carbon footprints and make their commitment to sustainable and climate-free tourism visible. RM Pro Snow, with the slogan "We need snow, but right now snow needs us," is a project concerned on snow is important to many individual and corporate companies, like skiers, snowboarders, climbers, mountain hotel owner, resort employee, or winter sport executive. Thanks to the climate change, winter are getting warmer and the snow are not coming out like it used to. That's why many related stakeholders in Swiss are joining this program. They are 100% committed and working to dump the fossil fuel which driving climate change and shift to 100% clean and renewable energy. For example, these are two companies are committed to this campaign. First, Sasfi Sastal boasts that almost 94% of the total electricity consumption for the lift and the cable car come from the regional hydropower and solar power. Meanwhile, Swiss use hostel run on 100% renewable electricity and invest on label Minergy Eco as standard for new building. That's all for RM Pro Snow program explanation and also my part. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Eva and I will continue the next strategies, which is AUF Forta. Water Days in Gedin School. AUF Forta is an event, can be a conference, debate, and also festival, or any event focused around tourism and the SDGs. Okay, there are some activities that they do during this event. The first one is AUF Forta, which is the Water Days in Gedin School. The first one is La Diala da Lawa, which means the water ferry. The second one is the symposium, and the last one is mineral water in Switzerland. Every activities that organized in this event give a good awareness to people. For example, mineral water in Switzerland, Prof. Rolf Gardner, well-known as a hydrologist in Switzerland that analyze and compare the various lower engaging mineral waters with the competition from Switzerland. And the next is the La Diala da Lawa, which means the water ferry, is event that the crowning final of this year's AUF Forta was the dance theater based on the Lower Engadin children's book. The story of the little water fairy tells of her experience and encounters along the small river. I will continue to the next strategy, which is TSSVM. Okay, what is TSSVM? TSSVM is Tourism Engadin School Samnaun Val Musta. Okay, Tourism Engadin School Samnaun Val Musta, or we can call it TSSVM, stands for a sustainability of tourism in tourism. Okay, TSSVM is together with its partners or hosts, each strive to offer you holidays that are as sustainable as possible. In doing so, it takes into account all three dimensions of sustainable development: society, the environment, and the economy. Sustainable development is a continuous process, which is a long-term process to improve with new project. Improvement with a new project. Okay, to get closer to the goal SDG13, the TSSVM strives to set a good example and also shapes its own company and everyday business as sustainable as possible. As I say, TSSVM strive a set of good example. So I will list down the good example that they do in Switzerland. The first one is developing sustainable in Swiss by a guide to sustainable working practice. Okay, where in their daily work, the employees of the TSSVM or any company follow an internal guideline on sustainable working process, which is they have their own guideline when working to sustainable their area. These guidelines regulate the use of natural resource, which is like water and paper, because paper is made by from woods, and water we can get from any sources. And overriding goal is to be part of the regional economic cycle. To this end, purchases are made in a region wherever possible. With this principle of action, we set a good example for our guests, partner, and service provider. Okay, next is the climate neutral company, which is climate neutral company is the TSSVM strive to minimize climate impacting emissions. The goal is to reduce carbon dioxide emissions caused directly or indirectly by our work in as many areas as possible. We offset the unavoidable emission via a carbon offset project from My Climate, which make us climate neutral. Workplace. Okay, lastly is the bike to work. So bike to work is which means they're using a bicycle to work to their workplace. Okay, Pro Velo Swiss launched the Bike to Work campaign every year. In 2021, the TSSVM was involved for the 9th time. Bike to Work is a nationwide campaign to promote cycling in companies. In the month of June, we cycle at least half of our way to work. There are 12 of us in 3 teams who covered around 800 kilometers and above. Numerous meters of altitude in the mountain of Engadin Samnaun Falmusta. So TSSVM provide many good examples to people in Switzerland for their developed sustainable in Switzerland.
Courageously shaping sustainable development in tourism. The event is Swiss Tourism for SDGs. Concrete examples and reaction to the corona crisis provide impulses for sustainable tourism development. In this German language online event, Swiss stakeholders share their experiences and discuss how this could be transferred to the Swiss and international tourism context. Not just that, the Swiss tourism dialogues on SDGs, which is Swiss Tourism for SDGs, is a board-based initiative supported by the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs (SECO) to anchor the Agenda 2030 with the 17 SDGs in the tourism industry. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint for economic, social, and ecological development up to 2030. 17 Sustainable Development Goals are the blueprint for economic, social, and ecological development up to 2030, adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. The SDGs are a call for action by all countries, civil society, the private sector, and the specific community to promote prosperity while protecting the environment. They recognize that ending poverty must go hand in hand with strategies that build economic growth and address a range of social needs including education, health, equality, and job opportunities, while tackling climate change and working to preserve our ocean and forests. The Swiss SDG Tourism Dialogue, they are networking the players in Swiss incoming and outgoing tourism with the aim of ensuring that thanks to the exchange of knowledge, innovative ideas, and good practice, the SDGs can be achieved in more targeted, effective, and rapid manner. The tourism dialogue does not develop its own measures to help reach the SDGs more effectively, but supports initiatives by finding suitable partners for them, tapping into missing knowledge, and actively communicating these initiatives within the network. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Okay, so I will conclude our presentation about SDG 13 in Switzerland. Okay, the first one, SDG 13 in Switzerland, which is Sustainability Development Goal on Climate Action, is take an urgent action to avoid climate changes and its impacts in Switzerland. To achieve SDG 13 in Swiss, they create a policy to represent the interests of tourism policy both nationally and internationally. Besides policy, Swiss come with strategies, which is a sustainable, where every strategies that can help this country from the climate changes and its impact. And lastly, Switzerland also committed to the implementation of Agenda 2030 at both national and international, which means that Swiss come with a plan for a long term. The policies, strategies, and plan could help Swiss in achieving SDG 30. That's all from us. Thank you.